Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Thor issue 9, and this was a pretty good issue. Now, this hasn't gotten as epic as like certain other things like Herald of Thunder, Galactus, and everything against the Black Winter, but it's building on. This seems to be more, at least in the beginning, kind of grounded in what we're kind of really thinking about and how this is going to go. Not to say that this won't get to some of those epic kind of proportions, but I am really intrigued with what they're going to be doing with this premise. So, we start off and we get a little background of like Odin and the World Serpent. And how there's always got to be like a light and a shadow, like the bird and the serpent, because he knew that he was going to have that Thor would have to deal with a serpent someday as well. So of course it talks about how he tried to teach Thor humility with the Donald Blake and everything like that, and how when Blake would smack the cane across the ground, that he would then transform into Thor. And then you're like, but what would happen to Donald Blake when he had turned into Thor? And we see this. Odin created this kind of realm, this neighborhood place that Donald Blake would go to after he would transform. And it's like nestled in the world tree. It is very secure. And it's very unchanging. We see him kind of strolling. It's almost kind of a Pleasantville kind of thing. And that's when you know that it's kind of wrong. Because we see him kind of going around. He's like all happy, never changing kind of thing, looking up in the sky, wondering when he'd fly again. Be Thor and all that. Then we switch and we see that Thor is pretty much relaying this to Loki. Loki's like, alright, what do you need? He's like, I need a break. I need to go somewhere where I'm a stranger. And talking about like all the stuff that he deals with as being the new king, of like psychic bears and their premonitions of Volstagg needing more ale. And he's like, I want to bring back Donald Blake. I need to kind of like readjust myself. Now granted, that is not a lie as Loki completely accuses him of, I believe, but it is not the full truth either. Because Loki's like, so you want me to lie for you? And he's like, yes, if you needed a storm or something, would I not do that for you? And he's like, brother, I'm trying to be like the god of myth and stories and leave the lies behind. But saying that, I know a lie when I smell one. And he's like, I'm not lying to you. And he's giving him all these, I was like, fine. And he tosses Mjolnir at him. He's like, anybody can wield Mjolnir. What's going on here? He's like, alright, fine. And we get the information that when Thor will go into the place, he will go into the Elder Sleep, where he can commune with like the dead kings and warriors of old, because they know that the ancient magics are breaking down and something needs to be done about it. He needs more information on it. And he's like, yes. And then that's the full truth. And Loki's like, alright, cool. I'll have your back with this. But I'm really relishing it because I'm looking forward to this giant favor you're going to owe me that you are undoubtedly going to regret. But even though Loki says that, you kind of get the kind of sense that, like, yeah, Loki, you'll poke a needle, but moving on from being the god of lies and everything, I kind of like this kind of brotherly set that we've got on. Yes, they're both kings of different kind of realms, but I like that they're kind of having a more brotherly kind of thing, because in the past, and any kind of Loki that we potentially get in the future, Loki always has that chip of, damn Thor. Here, it's like, okay, I understand these things, I'm going to move past it. Now granted, of course, comics are ever changing, so are the characters to fit what the story's going on, but I like them exploring this. So Thor's like, thank you, brother, smacks Mjolnir on the ground, and goes off. And then we see the next page, and it's kind of crazy. I really love the art style. It really sells the shift into this world. And we see that the old kings are turning their eyes away, but not in anger at Thor, not in disappointment, but in guilt and shame for what has occurred. So, what the hell? And we go, and we see that at some point, Donald Blake woke up, and he went mad, gloriously mad. The description of it just is, it really works with the visuals, because you see, in the beginning of the issue, we had it bright, warmly sunny. Here, it's kind of red and hellish, and we see that he murdered the people that are around there, and was like trying to see what's going on, and was writing in blood, "Where are you, Thor? Where am I? Is this hell?" And we find out that it's a prison. And yeah, it, even though you would think that this would be great for somebody, and to somebody it wouldn't be a prison, but that's kind of how these things work. What can be heaven to one person can be hell to another. And this turned into hell for Donald Blake. And he went nuts. And we see that he murdered pretty much everyone. We see he was trying to, of course, pray to Thor, but Thor was not able to get those prayers. We know that Thor would have helped him out because he greatly respects and understands what Donald Blake has done for him. And we see this, it's like, what the hell? And we see that it zooms out and he killed the great serpent. And it's like, oh shit. Because the duality that we've gotten, every light there's a dark. The light and the shadow. We now have Thor's shadow with Donald Blake. And he is not in a good mood. So we see Thor stuck here, so it's going to be really interesting to see how he gets out of that. We shift on over and we see Loki's like, what the hell? You're not Donald Blake. He's like, no, not really. And then he freaking throws like the scalpel at him and like is taking him down. He's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm Loki, motherfucker, and I ain't handling this. And he's like, oh, Loki, Dr. Donald Blake. And he's like, no. And he handily hands Loki his ass. Now, granted, Loki is not usually a brawler. So that's not that big of an issue. The issue is Donald Blake was usually just a human, and him having these kind of powers of, like, granted, he does know medicine, so he can, like, effectively hit places to take someone out. But he's got the strength and the power to deal with that. Now, see him all bearded and crazy looking, and fucking his clothes is like, whoa. And he's like, no, I'll never, and he's going to go after the gods, and I will never be Thor again, as he cracks the wooden staff, the cane, in half. As that last page is like, oh shit, this is going to get fucking crazy. And I'm along for the ride. Let me see how this goes. I'm like, I'm really excited for this. It's like, wow, I'm like, Donald Blake coming back? I'd seen the solicitations and everything. I'm like, we'll have to see how this works. I'm like, okay, just going to be interested. Let's see how good this gets. Because Thor's going to have his hands. He's like, he tried to go and get answers for one problem and has a whole other can that he's got to now deal with. It's like, oh God. So I'm really excited to see how this kind of goes, and if Donald Blake can be redeemed, or if he's going to become this villain for quite a while. I mean, comics, it's all ever changing, and we'll see all different kinds of stories and everything, but I'm like, okay, you got my buy-in. Let's kind of see where this goes. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.